Hello everybody and welcome to UFOs Around the World. So Matt Barone from Curious Dimension recently interviewed Daniel Sheehan, and there's a part of this I want to just play for you and then direct you to the full interview. The chapter I'm talking about is disclosure concerns and the belief system. So let's take a quick look at this. I do apologise about my voice, my throat is really sore. So let's just take a look. So this is Curious Dimension. And the host on the left there is Matt Barone. He does email me quite frequently, sending me all his podcasts and stuff like that. I've been watching his stuff for a while now. He's quite new to YouTube. He's got just under 10,000 followers, so please give him some support. He gets some really good interviews. He should be getting a lot more views for his interviews. Just YouTube's horrible in it sometimes.
So like when you have
it's totally true.
Right. So when you have an institution like Scientology, it may not necessarily be what they're teaching, but how devoted the people are to that. And then they can exploit that devotion, or they can exploit that belief in training people up to do these things.
Just like the Catholic Church, and just like
Right.
and just like the Hindus. I mean, what they do is they have a program for seeking out people who have some of these kind of basic talents, and they train them, and they bring them on inside the institution, and then they have to start raising funds to maintain the structures of the institution.
So the reason I want to play this part is because of all the things that we're hearing recently with Jeffrey Epstein, and all the stuff that we're hearing about the children, all the technology that he was involved with, all the Harvard. We were speaking about Avi Loeb and his connections to Epstein now as well. And then he speaks a bit about the children in an earlier part of that, which you can see when you go to it. But there's a part he says in the end how people categorise this within government, and it starts to make sense when you look at what's been released recently.
Institution, and then like any institution, it starts solidifying and ossifying, and then they become unreasonable, and they start suppressing the information, and instead of training their members up to actually display and exercise these important capabilities, they keep them secret. And then they, not only that, but that they define them as occult, and that you will be excommunicated if you in fact tell anybody about this. So that's what you have with Church of Scientology, the Catholic Church, and others.
Is it a legitimate concern that disclosure would? I have a hard time. I wrestle with this a little bit because I don't have a specific religion that I subscribe to, but I mean, I believe in a higher power. But I have a hard time with the argument that
that's exactly the same view I have. I believe in a God now, which I've come to that over the last couple of years. That I believe in a God. I don't tie it to any religious book. I just feel like the books cause problems and issues. If you got a Christian, a Muslim, a Jewish person, Hindu, and you put them all at a table, the only thing that separates them is the books that they follow. If you said you all believe in a God, remove the books, they're all connected then. These books are dividing people, in my opinion.
it would disrupt religion too much to disclose this, and therefore that's a legitimate concern. Do you think that's a real concern, or is that something they use to offset and delay the disclosure?
Both. I think that their primary motivation is to put off and delay disclosure. But the fact of the matter is there are some people inside military circles and intelligence circles who have a fairly low level of consciousness, even though they're extremely intelligent, and they've attached themselves to one of these belief systems, and that they believe that this is occult stuff, and we can't let people know about it. It's dangerous and it's
So if I'm reading this right, people that have their beliefs, if this goes against their beliefs, they're just going to put it in a category of that's demonic. Me, for example, who is not religious to any books, will look at this as differently to someone who follows the Bible and may see this as demonic. Someone that follows the Quran and says that this is something demonic, jinns or something like that, not to be looked at. We don't want to touch this, which leaves the people that are doing this to do whatever they want, because the religious people are too scared within government to even touch it because it goes against what they believe in.
demonic, that they've actually been trained inside their religious tradition to categorize all of that as demonic. And they are wise enough to recognize that that's a device that's been developed inside that religious institution to keep people from getting access to these talents and in their mind, potentially abusing them. And that so that everybody there thinks they're acting in good faith. The people inside the religious tradition think, look at these are dangerous faculties that people have, that our human species has, and our people have fairly low levels of consciousness. We're all aware of that. And so you don't want to just cast out pearl before the swine. And so that they don't tell people about it. And there's all the secret traditions that they talk about them with Christ. Christ would take his disciples aside and he would teach them these kind of private things that they never talked about at all to anybody. You have the persons of the gospel where Jesus takes two of his favorite disciples and they go off to a mountainside, and Jesus manifests himself as this gigantic, glowing being, and they see him there talking with Moses and with who was Elijah, I think. And you go, oh wow, holy mackerel, you know. And Jesus said, look, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that you saw this. And of course, they run right off and run up in their gospels and tell people about it. But the bottom line is, the answer is both is true. So you have a group like the Collins group, for example, is kind of this little fraternity of people in the higher ranks of the military, urgingly of it, but you know, it's hard not to.
So the interview's just under an hour long. I highly recommend everybody goes and watches it. There is just one more little clip I want to share with you because of what's been going on. Ties in with Jake Barber and the Sky Watchers and everything that goes in. It's what Daniel Sheehan says here. So take a listen to this.
Ability to ascertain what their objectives are, you know, what their schedule is, how much information are they willing to eventually release, you know, and how much are they going to absolutely insist upon keeping secret. For example, the fact that they drug young children, you know, to get them into a state of terror, to get them to leave their bodies so that they can exercise psychic capabilities, you know, to help pilot these craft. You know, that's kind of a large mouthful there, but they're pieces of information like that they're never going to want to admit, because I mean, it's going to subject them to criminal prosecution. So they're not going to let go of that no matter what you do. You know, so we're going to have to dig that out through professional investigation, et cetera.
So I mean, obviously that's a huge conversation there. The psionic aspect of this whole thing, where people are getting injured, getting too close to the stuff, frying their brains out. Like that's a huge conversation to have, and I'm sure those people exist, and I'm sure they've been killed associated with this, and there's probably names that we'll never know of who that's happened to. Some that we probably will find out in the future. I want to talk about the legality.
So I totally agree with Matt with what I just said then. So many people have probably died. These are children that they're using primarily to try and terrify them so much that they leave their body to be able to fly these crafts. These poor children, and some of them we'll never ever know. We'll never ever know who's come and gone in these experiments. Maybe a few. I don't even think we'll even get a few. I think they'll just be so under lock and key. I really do. I don't think the names will ever get leaked, because if they are, they're saying like they keep the eggs, they breed their own children sort of to do this. They don't have any birth certificates, any documentation. The world doesn't even know these children exist. This is the problem we've got, and this is what they've been doing for decades. So yeah, please everybody, make sure you head on over to Curious Dimension. It will be linked in the description. Share some love and get watching. It's a really good interview. He asked some every chapter he's asked really good questions, and we got some really good answers, different answers as well. And them two chapters I would share with what's coming out with Epstein recently and with the children. We need to keep on this now while it's a hot topic and look at it from every angle. Well, that connects with this, that connects with that, and we need to do this and work together as a team. As always, keep your eyes to the skies, as the next story could be yours. Good night, God bless, see you on the next one.